You're live. Is it working?
Just seeing the little chiptune hang thing.
Yeah,
It looks like one of those 3D Magic Eye posters.
It legitimately thinks that it's streaming right now. This is so bizarre.
We're in.
Oh, hacker voice, I'm in.
I'm in.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Okay, now I have to.
Okay, awesome. Well, then let me reintroduce everybody from the top. We have .exe, ap0c, HangOnGetReady, and Daya, who I was just remarking about doesn't use enough trackers.
No.
Cool. Well, welcome everyone. We're doing an impromptu hang. We're talking about chiptune. We're lamenting how long it takes to set up a stream, even when we think we have everything set up and how great it is.
I'm just enjoying the chroma key swallowing me and spitting me.
Yeah.
Same.
I just feel like there always has to be visual interest going on that's like not staring at five dudes. That's why we've got Daya's little fall gif and we've got the chroma key.
Oh, I love it.
We've got Lexi in chat. Welcome. Maybe the only person other than us who will. Oh, and Daya's son. Welcome.
Yeah. My son is in chat. He is the cow avatar. Cow was it? Yeah.
Cows 125. Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the kids say, what's up, chat?
Right. I was gonna say my son actually does want to start he wants to start a stream with me. So once we get that going, it'll be pretty cool. He wants to do kind of like a random retro gaming roulette. So
sweet.
Pretty cool. Yeah, because I used to do streaming on Twitch years back before it got all commercial and kind of gross. And yeah, it'd be cool to get back to it again.
There's a channel I used to follow on YouTube for a while called like Game Boy Roulette, and it would always just be
cool.
like random Game Boy games, and like sometimes they were like half decent, but most of the time they were just kind of like, yeah, this game really doesn't live up to any kind of expectation whatsoever.
No, but it's great when the game's terrible, but the music is amazing.
Oh yeah,
A lot of like Alberto Gonzalez games.
right.
Yeah. Agreed.
Good old McAlby.
Yep.
Same with Fallen too.
Oh,
yeah. Pictionary is not exactly going
Silver
to.
Surfer. Yeah.
Good Tim Fallon games that well.
I would argue that Solstice is actually a quality game.
Okay, that's
It's
fair.
a quality game. It belongs to like a genre that's much more popular on like 80s computers.
It's the isometric.
But I thought they did it. Yeah, isometric action adventure game. But they gave it a good go. It's definitely less painful to play or to learn than Solstice. Not Solstice, than Silver Surfer.
Yeah, Silver Surfer is a nightmare. It's very punishing. It's very punishing.
Everything kills you. Everything. The walls kill you. Random off-screen objects. Gravity.
This makes me feel like it's almost like a retro game audio kind of thing of like, what's the most playable Fallen game? I have to look this up now.
Oh yeah.
What is the most playable? Let's see.
I don't know about most playable,
also...
but the Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball game for Super Nintendo was pretty good, and Tim Fallon did the.
He actually didn't. That's actually been found out that it was someone else. They just used his driver.
Wow, cool.
I've been telling people that for years that it was Fallen and it's not, and I've had to like correct myself.
Do you know who it is though? Now I'm curious.
I wonder if it was his brother. Was it Jeff Fallon maybe?
No, it's two guys from the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can actually. I had this was like something I was meaning to do. Sorry. Now I got like 10 windows open. I feel like I'm at work.
We can correct it on the public record now.
It was Chris Jojo and Matthew Cannon.
Okay.
It's like one of the only things they've done, but the driver for it is Tim and Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not the most playable Tim Fallon game.
What about Echo the Dolphin? Echo the Dolphin on the Dreamcast. got very good ratings when it came out, and he actually did the audio. I couldn't remember the soundtrack save my life, but he did do audio on that.
Defender of the Future, yeah, with
Yeah.
a Hager, right? And Attila Hager is the original composer, right? Or one of the original composers?
Oh, do you mean on like the Sega Genesis?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. This would have been further on. I think it was like the final Echo the Dolphin game.
Either 99 or
Okay.
2000.
Yeah. And then they
Maybe
ported it to PS2, I want to say.
They did, yeah. So
then-
released January 25th, 2001, and then PS2 the following year in 2002. Sorry, I actually have like 10 windows open here, so I can look this stuff up.
And I have,
Lexi
like,
says,
this
fun
weird
fact
knowledge
about Echo the Dolphin 1, they mostly finished the game, then the creator was like, oh wait, this is too easy, we need to up the difficulty.
Boo. Boo. It's such
And
a
then they're
great
like, this
cinematic
is-
game. Like, you know what it is? It literally is like playing all the turtle level, the what's called the original
Yes.
Ninja Turtles game levels, like, and that's the game. And you're like,
That is the game.
why are you doing this to me?
That's why they probably made Echo Junior. Where it was like, oh, this is maybe too hard for the kids who actually want to play it. So give them the kiddie version. Here you go.
Welcome, Skip Sandwich.
Oh, hello.
I thought, oh, maybe we should play the yogurt song, but like it's already been played so much in my other streams. We like I mentioned probably before the YouTube started, we do a Telemelt stream, which is LSDJ collaboration, including .exe, and anybody else who wants to do LSDJ is invited. But Skip Sandwich he's pretty much been there almost every stream, if not every stream. And we submitted a song to the Battle of the Bits Winter Chip battle for this season. But play the yogurt song, it's mandatory. And like I have high hopes because I'm like very proud of all the work we've done. But then I saw that Don't Blink or You'll Die submitted a track, so that's always like some stiff competition.
Man, if you're going up against him, Battle the Bits, God, good luck. Yeah, actually, I've met him in person. Great guy.
Yeah.
I redeemed request a song, so
Oh yeah, my Twitch redemptions that do nothing. I don't even know. Oh yeah, I do. I know where it is. I'll have to find it. I have a .exe song pulled up first. I don't know. Should we take a break and do a jam for a minute?
Let's play
why
some
not?
music.
Okay, let's play some music. I'm gonna play this .exe song. Do you want to talk about it?
sure, yeah.
Okay, should we play it first? You can at least introduce the title.
Is the I don't know what you're playing. Is it Ultra Acid?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Ultra Acid. It was my first Weekly Beats song of 2020. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's go. And you guys will hear it, but just be warned that the audio might be loud. If the levels are messed up, I'll try to change them, and y'all in chat can let me know. Okay, here we go. Ultraacid.exe.
Yeah, so that's
Awesome.
Ultra Acid. There's two cool things in this song. One is that both the bass and the lead are in the wave channel at the same time, like in a synth instrument.
Oh, that's very cool.
So that's you started being able to do that in LSDJ version 8. So you put like you can do a tiny really small phase square wave. So you can put like FFF and then 00 and then just flip that back and forth. So you get the bass of the flipping back and forth at a certain frequency, and then you also get the little square wave to use for the lead. So there's two instruments in the wave channel, and you're kind of locked to your tempo. So that song is locked to its tempo on one bass note. Yeah, I played it on like a huge sound system for the first time, and I don't know, because I wasn't in front of like the speakers. So like, how did the bass come through defense mechanism?
I mean, amazing. That was kind of, I think, what I was telling you. Was that like you kind of forget? I at least forget what it's like, riding on headphones or whatever, or even like in the car, like compared to like somewhere with an actual sub and like feeling that like air pressure like moving in the room.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, I remember why Game Boy is fun to write with. I mean, any chiptune thing can mostly do that, except for maybe SMS or something, like most of them can get some good amount of bass out of them. But there's seems like kind of nothing like that wave channel. I mean, it's LSDJ and the wavetable stuff in particular. I think if people
Commodore 64 can
yes,
get some
for sure,
really gnarly sub bass. Yeah.
And the other thing in that song is like the chords are just using like a wave in the wave channel that sort of has lots of upper register stuff, and it's using the one thing I found you could do with that song, which is really weird, is if it's the chord uses obviously both pulse channels and the wave channel, and that sounds quite noisy, even with the improved like wave synthesis system. But if you actually introduce more noise in the noise channel, I actually got it to cancel out a little bit. So the noise channel is using that for noise cancellation. I'm really not sure quite how that works. Maybe it just like smooths things over so you don't get those pops. I don't know, but it sounds a lot better with the noise channel. So
I think it's
almost sounds
probably
like some of the. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's like dithering. Like there's this phenomenon where you add noise, and it's like, so if you have like a really low resolution sound, like 4-bit audio, you start to hear what's called like quantization noise, because they're like these particular tones that get produced from that low resolution. So when you play noise on top of it, it actually, it cancels out those tones, and it makes it sound like there's more dynamic range than there actually is. So I wonder if that's part of that phenomenon. Also, I wanted to say, welcome, Disposable Planet.
And I was going to say, it made me think, maybe Hang On, Get Ready can talk about this too, but like in FamiTracker, if you're making like NES music, you can do some manipulation, I think with the sample channel, and where I think you insert certain types of samples, like blank samples, and then suddenly you can have varying triangle wave volumes, where normally the triangle wave is like one solid volume.
I can't talk about that because I didn't know about that till right now.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yes, I've seen people do it.
It's part of like the Z command stuff. Like depending on how you put that through there, like you're right though. You can create like I've seen files where people create almost like a false. It literally is just a silent sample, and then if you use that in addition to trying to, because like the Z command, like I remember. Emily Fetter said one time when she was talking about the Z channel, and it's always stuck with me. She's like, the Z channel can manipulate the triangle channel to make it sound like, well, SH. I don't want to say it on here to demonetize or anything here, but you know what I'm saying. Like that's the primary function of the Z command, is to make the TPCM sound like
to make it sound like chip.
Chip, but from that perspective, though, like, that is, I've seen people use it. Especially in kind of a scenario where it doesn't matter how big the file is, because it's silent. Anything you put in there is going to bloat the file. But yeah, it's kind of I haven't used it, but I definitely know people have. I mean, it's just a different way to do the Z command manipulation of making the triangle louder or softer or whatever. And you can also use it to make clicks too, like the little Z channel clicks and things like that. And I'm not going to get into it, but there's different Z channel clicks and whatnot. Yeah.
This is for people who know how to use Family Tractor.
Family Tractor.
Wait, why are we in the tractor pit? Where's the tractor? There's no tractors or anything.
Oh, I totally have it.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to get this.
We need to get the tractor pits back. I have it's that whole, what is that, Eastern European tractor festival? I had that was what came up when I pulled up this profile.
Yeah. There's in Slovenia, they're all over the place apparently. My son was so into that when he was very little, and I tried to talk to him. It's been so long since they've done this. I tried to talk to him about hey, do you remember when you were watching the tractor stuff? And he's like, what are you talking about? I never watched that. I'm like, oh yeah, you did. I have videos of you watching this stuff and being really excited about tractors getting stuck in the mud.
Yes.
I mean, that's fun at any age. Just do it again.
Also, it looks like my new computer is working, so everything's good, and the visuals are much better than my other one. So.
Oh, cool.
And also, I apologize to Hang On Get Ready for putting you on the spot.
No, I have to learn. There's new cool stuff out there. I don't know. I have a couple of Google searches and a conversation with you and Steve to have after this chat.
Yeah. It's I haven't done. I've worked. It's weird. I've definitely made some Family Tracker tunes, but it's not my main tracker. But I've made stuff in it. But it's I know enough about it. I would say that. I've used it since it's basically its inception.
There's a couple ones you submitted to Battle of the Bits. There's one I'm trying to remember. That I liked. I can't remember. Was it N163? I think it might have been. It was so long ago. It probably was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Sometime that I remember.
So I did a 1 hour battle. I did a 1 hour battle, but I think the best song I did for Family Tracker was either on a Chiptunes for Autism compilation or and it ended up on my album. I don't think I'm trying to remember if I ever the stuff I submitted to Battle of the Bits usually was Sega Genesis, I would say. Most of the time. And then every once in a while, a 1 hour battle, I do whip out a Family Tracker thing.
Yeah, it was there's one Family Tracker one that I remember, and then the other one I always remember is what's it called? What's it called? Shower Clean.
Yeah, Shower Fresh.
Yeah.
I actually
the
sent
Shower
that
Fresh.
to,
There you go.
Yeah, I sent that over to Defense Mechanism.
Really?
Yeah.
That track in particular, I always appreciated that you, and if I recall correctly, that you actually used squeaky noises to sound like you're turning the shower on.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm surprised you remember that. I
do, because
I did that in my sound design. Yeah.
It literally beat the living daylights out of me for my Genesis track that year. So I do remember it. And the song is a total vibe too. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. I definitely go full ham when it comes to weird sound design tricks. I just like things where it's oh, I could use a sample here, but I also have all of these different sound channels with the Sega Genesis where I can get it to sound I just love thinking about people who have to create sound effects for these systems back in the day. And they didn't always have that sample channel to rely on. So it's well, how am I going to make that sound? Because I had to do the same thing on the Commodore 64. It was the same deal where I'm oh, I'm going to make the sound of a door creaking and closing. Which is totally just me listening to a whole bunch of Tim Fallon music doing the same thing.
I don't want to go on a huge tangent, but I find that making door noises is one of the most complicated things on old school hardware. It's just what you want to hear, right? You can hear the creak or whatever, but there's nothing that's really based in the wave. Anything you can think of that's exactly that creak. Maybe you could come up with something when I think of it in in FM, but in wavetable, in any of that kind of stuff, I'm always just it's gonna you want or something like that.
Yeah, I'll have to show you the track I did that, and you can ask me if I pulled it off well enough, but I think I did. Yeah, I did one. It was like an atmospheric track that I did on the Commodore 64. I'll have to send you like, oh, let's compare door noises.
I'd be very curious because I lately anytime anyone asks me to do SF, sound effects, I've just been like, I'm gonna get a sound effect person. I'm not doing this doing this again. And like,
Yeah.
I've gotten like it to get it correct. I think it takes so much more mental effort than it does to get a vibe for a track or something like that. It is a completely different skill set, and I kind of understand why some of these older, the older tracks or whatever had a sound effect person. It'd be like, the Konami Club or whatever doing their track, and like I'm sure one person on their whole job was to make the creaking doors and everything that we're used to for any of the older what's it called, Castlevania games or something like that. I just do not excel at it. I've for the last couple of games I've been on, I did it, but like I have 2 other games right now, and I definitely hired someone else. So I'm like, no, you're doing my sound. I'm not touching this. Someone else needs to.
Sometimes when I'm trying to,
yeah.
sometimes when I'm trying to recreate a sound, I'll break it into its different frequency components and slow it down. And sometimes you just kind of be like, oh, I can get a sound like that. And then you put it together on like multiple channels or whatever, and it just kind of comes together. Like it sounds like nothing, and then it sounds like sort of what it's supposed to sound like.
Or you cheat and grab I think I cheated once, and a friend of mine was like, hey, I want you to make something very Konami-esque for my YouTube channel. I'm like, okay, great. Here's something very Konami-esque. And I just stole the Blades of Steel. Like I literally grabbed the NSF file for Blades of Steel, and I grabbed the Blades of Steel sound effect and threw it in at the end.
So this really funny story because I on Dead Horizon 2, which is it's only in demo, but like we're trying to find funding for it. It's another game. The original sound effects for the entire game were just the sound effects from Snatcher. Every single set, like literally the actual like the demo that we put on Steam originally is just the sound effects from Snatcher. We had like he's like, I want the guns from Snatcher. I'm like, okay, well I got them all. He's like, I kind of want to keep these in here. I'm like, I mean they are generic sounds or whatever, but like, it's a little bit of a gray area. He's like, but I love Snatcher. I'm like, Konami loves to sue. So
this reminds me that game Rekka for NES, like they use some of the sound or at least one of the sound effects of the game Cho-Ren Sha for the X68K.
Oh yes,
and like as a tribute to them. We have a question in chat, and maybe if you want to talk about it, who is falling down at chip space in the bottom right of the screen?
Oh, that's me. That is me falling down. That's why my second album was named Fall Damage.
Yes.
Shall I regale you guys with the story of
and before you do, I just wanted to remind everybody that's Bandcamp Friday, so no pressure, but if you feel like supporting someone, we have 5 awesome artists, well, yeah, who you can easily pick up tunes. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So, God, I haven't been to MagFest in a while here, but I think this was pre-pandemic, so I think 1 year before the pandemic, maybe 2 years, like 2018. And I was over at Chip Space, which, if you haven't been to MagFest, there's a stage on the right wing when I think you go upstairs, and it's like this long hallway. There's a stage, and that's where you have like open mic most of the time. So you have open mic, people can sign up and do music. And so that year I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep this thing going because we're not getting a lot of signups. I was volunteering, I was helping out. And I think other people were going to see other shows, but I was trying to keep that, keep that stage going. And so I was up on stage DJing some of my music, and I think I played some Relay Bros stuff. And so I played a Relay Bros song, and this Relay Bros song had like a really cool like one moment in the song. It was like a cover of like Chrono Trigger or something, and it had like a really cool drop in it, like somewhere in the song, and like I jumped when I thought the drop was like, I'm gonna jump the right moment, and then I jumped and I fell right there on the ground, and then I did like a spinneroonie and recovered, and There were like 5 people out in the audience, but they were all like, "Yeah."
The song
So,
dropped you.
Yes. It's when you're. It's just like when people try to clap along to a song. Just make sure you're doing it on the 2 and 4
Yeah.
instead of the 1 and 3. Or you see people like clapping at the wrong time. Make sure if you're gonna DJ stuff, like practice beforehand. That's why I'm a musician, not a DJ, guys.
Hey, speaking of musicians and Bandcamp, like, should we play one of your songs?
Yeah.
The Bandcamp links are up when we will be playing the song. So, is there a particular one that you want to play?
Yeah, we were just talking. Sorry. Yeah, you could pull that up. I don't think I sent that to you. It's more of an atmospheric track.
My bad.
I did not send the Commodore 64 track, but I'll post it in chat here. Yeah, or we could play Shower Fresh, which I think I did actually send you, so you can show the module if you want.
Yeah. Which one would that be?
So that would be. Is it gonna be in? Like it's gonna be like. Go to that folder real quick.
I mean, you could always just. Well, no, you can't. Sorry, I'm not opening my browser again.
No, that's okay. I can send you the link to the song, but let me see if because I know I sent you like a.
Yeah, out of the ones that you sent, let's pick one.
Yeah, so if you do a search for shower in that folder, it'll pull right up.
Wait, really?
I hope it's the song.
Did I not get the right tracks from you then?
Yeah, what'd you get?
Is it called diatracks.zip?
Yeah, I think so.
Tracks.
Yeah.
Oh, am I looking at the wrong?
Tracks,
Oh, it's in the
Dia originals.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You have to hit the start stream button.
Oh no.
Oh man. I'm just gonna post it in the chat. That's fine. I can grab it real quick. If that's easier. Otherwise, yeah, you can pick a different one if you need to.
Let's pick a different one. Any second choices?
Sure. Second choice here. Go ahead and do because this one has some sound effects type stuff in it too. Go ahead and do Maiden Voyage.
Oh, good. I have that one pulled up, and it's so good.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to.
And that's a Sega Genesis track.
I'm going to put the other thing back. The other video. Oh no, wait. Wait, how can I refresh this? Stop when not visible, restart when visible. And then there we go. Okay. That should be fine, right? We're going to go the opposite direction. Okay, cool. Here we go. Furnace view. Here we go. Awesome. That was amazing.
Nice. Yeah, great track.
Yay!
Very good job. Yeah.
That song has an interesting history because
Why
it was
is
like
this-
first it was a chip tunes equals win like Space Tunes track, right? It was like, oh, this is supposed to fly into space, and then like we all know what happened to that, so like that album disappeared, and then it was like, oh, maybe it can have second life. YM 2020, and I asked Cat Skull, and he was like, yeah, let's just put it on here. Let's do a physical, Sega Genesis card release. And then Cat Skull went under, but before that happened,
I regret not buying one of those, but the thing is, I don't have a Sega Genesis.
I would buy you a Sega Genesis if you had.
I have like 12. Probably like 14 or 15. Do you want one? I'll just send you one. It's a model. It'll be a Model 2, so it'll sound like shit. Oh, sorry. Demonetization. Whatever. But, it'll sound like crap. But I can send you any Model 2 that you'd like. Yeah, I have plenty of Model 2s.
It's Family
There's,
Tractor.
Model 2
That's
mods.
why.
Yeah.
Sorry, I put the tractor pits back, but then I forgot to unmute the source.
So that was played in Furnace, but I wrote that in Def Lamask. Before Def Lamask became a paid program. Now I think most of our chiptune friends, I think most of them probably migrated over just because of especially for Battle of the Bits, it's easier to use either the legacy Def Lamask before you had to pay for it, or use Furnace.
Yeah.
Furnace just makes it easier too, because sorry, excuse me, burping over here. When I did the original ideas for Yoke Heroes and stuff like that was double Wonder Swan, and the fact that Furnace you can just go Wonder Swan,
Very modular.
and you're done.
Yeah.
Very simple. Or you can do double YM2151 or something like that, like OPM, like just weird kinds of configurations, which I felt like Def Lamask could just do. And we should have had the ability to just do it because it was there and it was all programmed, and we couldn't, So yeah,
you could do it, but it was very finicky because I wrote one track where it was like Commodore 64, and then it was like two SID, and then it was TurboGrafx 16 all in one track for Chipwin. I think it was probably one that you had to like judge on, to be honest, APOC.
Probably.
But that was a situation where it would keep getting out of sync, and so I would have to like hit control play, and I had have everything lined up perfectly. But in Furnace, like you can just set it up right from the get-go, and it's just all in one thing. Whereas in Deathmask, it was like, oh, I want this chip, and you had to have like 3 separate windows that you were kind of toggling between.
I always felt like if you wanted to do that, it was kind of like the analogy I use is the escalator situation. Sometimes you get an escalator and you put your hands on the arms and they start to kind of go a little bit like that. You know, like maybe one of the the rails is a little slower, and you'd always end up with that like micro, just slightly off. Like when you tried to sync it, it drove me crazy.
Yeah,
that's
that
awful.
Definitely happened. That happened to me because I was like, my ADHD brain. I'm like working on it's like Chiptunes Equals Win Volume 5, I think. That song I was talking about. I was submitting for that. The song called Homecoming, and it was like midnight before we had to like upload the track. Right, it was like down to the wire. And then what would happen was like I'd get near the end of the song and the tracks would get out of sync like near the very end. I'm like, what is happening? Come on. So fun times. Fun times.
I wonder if I was a judge on Volume 5. I can't even remember anymore.
Yeah, maybe 5 or 6.
This makes me think of there's a LSDJ artist named Zenko Mani who sometimes tunes in, and like he wrote like this amazing song. It's just called like Untitled V1 or something like that, and it came out a few years ago, and it was like it was incredible. It was a 2x LSDJ track. And I was like, "What? How did you do that or whatever?" But like, he apparently just likes to like record both of the Game Boys and then like just sync them in Audacity. Like I'm like, I don't. There's no like that. LSDJ can like link together and be perfectly in sync. Like it sends tempo back and forth, and like he's just like, no, I don't do that. I'm like,
maybe he just
that
wants
is
to see the
extremely
waves.
brave.
He wants to see the waveforms.
Yeah, I think so.
Up close.
Yeah, it's I'm like, that is uniquely special. Like if I'm gonna play, I mean, I've never written a 2x song because I just think it's like, I don't know, very wild.
Gratuitous?
No, I don't like the idea of having to worry about what all of those extra channels are doing.
Who's done that?
And also just like, I already have trouble trying to get 4 channels to behave. Like, I don't know. It's the fact that they all have like a defined, like, what do I need 2 noise channels for? Like, I don't know. Maybe, can you speak to that? Like, I don't know. .exe, because...
Well, like stereo effects. That's the one thing. But every time I've started like a 4x song, I'm like, I can get this effect on 1x. And then actually Pulse Flow started like that. One of the songs that I sent you.
Nice.
It started as a 2x LSDJ, and now it's a 1x LSDJ because it didn't need to be. So it's like, how do you start a song and be like, oh yeah, has to be, 2 times LSDJ? Like you don't really know, right? And I've never had the opposite experience. So yeah, I don't know. It's on the table, but it's like I've never done a song to completion that's 2 times LSDJ.
See, I didn't do 2x
That's not true.
LSDJ. Oh, okay. Almost. You did. Okay.
I did, yeah.
See, I did it for ZX Spectrum. I did like an AY tune that uses 2x AY chips. And for that chip, it's pretty cool because it has like this waveform generator that gets really gritty. And having 2 of those gives you some pretty wild stereo-ish effects. Some really cool phasing sounds.
Cool.
Nice.
I still got to make a song that's 1x LSDJ.
Yeah.
And you guys.
Don't do it.
Okay, wild thing, which is that, so, we talked about Alberto Gonzalez, right? Like one of the best, like, classic Game Boy composers.
The GOAT.
So the GOAT. So he wrote most of his songs on the ZX Spectrum in a tracker he wrote, and then he would port those over to the Game Boy, so you can actually hear the original like ZX Spectrum versions of those tracks. Just pretty crazy.
Oh, cool.
Nice. I've heard that people sometimes have done that, like before, all of these nice trackers that we have now. Like it was common to kind of like write other modules like XM or mod files, and then like use some kind of driver to convert that to something that could run on like NES or something like that.
Yeah, like MIDI. I know there was definitely David Warhol wrote like back in the 80s, he wrote some piece of software where you could write like a MIDI, or late 80s, and it was like take a MIDI in Cakewalk, and then you could convert it into a song on NES. But the problem was like you'd end up with stuff like Maniac Mansion, where like the envelopes would sound really goofy on that game. The music sounded great, but the envelopes on it were awful. So sometimes you have these games where it was like converted audio, and you can kind of tell.
That reminds me of 8-Bit Beast.
Yes.
When we had David Warhol on Retro Game Audio, he said the same thing. Like it was all, yeah. It's a great interview, and I didn't get to do the interview. Patrick did it directly with him, but he said similar things, like documentation wise, like him trying to figure out how to program for NES. They sent him a bunch of manuals in Japanese. And he had to try to figure out how that was working. So then he wrote his own programs to try to transform whatever he was writing in exactly Cakewalk into whatever was over there. So he wrote all the drivers. So it's like, and a lot of things, I guess I've talked with, as we haven't like brought Retro Game Audio back or anything, but, thinking about it, like one of the things we've always talked about is like, it's always very difficult when, there's a very short list of NES composers from the U.S., right? It is literally like David Warhol, a couple other people. There weren't many people from the U.S. who did it. Like you have your Fallons, you have your Gonzaleses, you have the other people who were in the U.K. who had a tradition of more C64, ZX Spectrum as they bring it over there. But there's very few like straight up U.S. composers that ended up messing around with the NES. And it's like, it's a short list. It's under 10 probably, if we're being very honest. And him, Warhol, they were tasked with literally taking documentation of we're going to make a game for the NES. Okay, they send over literally a Famicom, not a Nintendo, and they give you a bunch of documentation in Japanese. And he was literally having someone translate it so he could figure out how to send the programming directly to the console. And then, of course, and I remember him saying I think, if I recall correctly, I think the episode's like 10 years old at this point, but something along the lines of like they got the envelopes backwards because the documentation in there was different. And they programmed it, and they only got a couple shots because they don't have the resources. It's not like I remember what.
It's almost like they had the byte swapped or something. Like it was the wrong digit of the byte. You know what I mean?
That's what they always say about like Boy and His Blob. Like they definitely had something swapped or messed up, or they just did that on purpose, which is harder for me to believe.
Right.
But the documentation they tried everything they could, but like they were literally requiring like a friend who could kind of translate this complicated manual to push that kind of stuff forward. But it's worth revisiting that. I should probably revisit it myself because I don't remember half the stuff we did on Retro Game Audio anymore. It's been 10 years.
I listened to some episodes. It was a good quality show. I like the deep dives and the stuff.
I remember listening to it like when I was trying to learn about sound chips, even Game Boy stuff, and like, there's that expansion port on the Game Boy that nobody knows about because it's never been used except for what is that thing called? Nano Loop Mono. That it's an analog synth that like uses it, and you're like, the thing that I would love is to have the Game Boy sound chip and the expansion audio that only uses the expansion audio. So it's cool for what it is, but it's also like there's still possibilities out there.
That sounds very close to like the Sega Master System, like how in Japan they had a module that you could literally just plug into your Master System over there. and it gave you FM synthesis. And so suddenly all of the games that supported it sounded great for the most part. They just sounded like way fuller. But you couldn't use that FM synthesis and the PSG channels at the same time, or else you'd end up it would almost sound like a Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
There's only one. So okay, I used to be a huge Sega Master System JP nerd. There's only one song that natively uses both the PSG or the SN and the FM, and it's a demo song that plays on the Sega Master System Japanese, the MK2000 or whatever, which is everything integrated. So not a secondary OPLL, but the OPLL built in. And it's a Space Harrier song. That's the only song that I'm aware of.
Of course it is.
Both the OPLL and PSG. And it's just a demo song that plays if you don't put a cartridge in. I have
the snail. Yeah. The
snail thing just uses the SN, I believe, if I recall. But they had different demos on the...
Right?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Are you playing us off?
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, he's playing it.
Right? Isn't that's close? That's close.
And if you have, sorry, this is the forum for this kind of stuff.
It used to be. Welcome, Snafu. By the way, great to see you.
Yeah. I could talk about APOC. Talk about this all day.
The last thing I'll say about that is if you have the wrong one of the first editions of the MK2000, which is everything integrated, which means that it also has the port for the 3D glasses built in. That was the idea of the Master System. It should be one unit that has everything. It has the card reader, everything is built into it. Instead of the Mark III, which didn't have that. Those are all peripherals. If you have a very early version of it, the PSG and the OPLL on the Space Harrier song will desync. And the PSG will go faster than the OPLL, and it will create this weird, it'll be off by 6 beats by the time the song's done. It's spectacular.
It's like Steve Reich, the Steve Reich version of Space Harrier.
I love when Charles Ives, where there's 2 different orchestras playing at the same time.
Yeah,
no, it just made me think about how I just love weird unintended consequences in video game music and things like that. I think there's one game on Sega Genesis where if you let the song keep looping, it'll eventually, the key will keep on getting higher and higher and higher until it loops back on itself, and it just gets really glitchy and weird. And that's Sword of Vermilion. If you look that game up,
interesting.
Yeah, it's got a track on that where it's they didn't put in a stop command. So they're like, oh, once we hit this upper register, we better stop it.
That's great. I love it so much.
So that's a fun experiment in ear torture if you guys ever get into that.
Speaking of ear torture, should we play another song?
Sure.
Let's see. We haven't heard one from APOC or Hang On Get Ready. Anybody want to volunteer?
Let's go. Hang On Get Ready first.
Well, my tracks are fully dependent on the game build I sent you.
Okay.
Because I sent you tracks from the game specifically.
All right. Should I try to play the game?
Did you play the game? Did you play it?
No, he's supposed to play it on screen.
I'm supposed to play it a little bit. I'm a huge gamer, so this is gonna go great. So, do you want to talk about the game first? Because it's going to be a rocky road for me to get to the game. So, you want to talk about it?
Sure. So, I am one of 4 members of a studio called Neandita Games. We made a game 9-ish years ago called Shoot Shimi Seriously Swole. And we haven't put anything out since, though. We all work in different capacities still in the industry. Together, putting something together is much like being in a band. And, you do it when you have time, and you start a bunch of different songs, and you don't finish all of them. We haven't finished the second one yet, but we're working on it. So our game that we're working on right now is called Brews and Cruisers. We started it in 2016, and then stopped working on it in 2018, and then restarted it again maybe 6 months ago. Right from scratch, except I'm keeping all of the music we had in the original game. So you have 2 tracks that I wrote in 2016 when it was a Game Jam game, and then 1 track I wrote a month and a half ago, right before the MagFest build.
Nice.
which is largely what you have to play.
Cool.
Everything in Family Tracker. No VRC6, so straight up to AO3. I'm not being super strict on sound effects not playing in the right spots or any of that stuff. It's not system accurate, so I apologize to any of the
the
purists
purists
out there that are going to be
Yeah.
actually. We're not being pure about it. Also, it's Game Boy Color graphics, so and it's Family Tracker sound, so just get super angry.
Fantasy system.
Yeah.
So mad. I'm so angry.
I'm gonna
Okay.
write to my congressman right now.
I'm gonna launch this and then I'm gonna try to get it working. This is a fun experiment for me to try to get it to work. But I did get it working earlier.
For the cast trying to play a game on stream while talking.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, here we go.
So yeah, a little bit more about it. It's a top-down car battle game, basically single player. Hear the audio.
Yes. So let's see if I can get back in after I switch to the view here. Is this gonna work? There it is. Yes. Oh, it's my glitch background is on top of it. That's why. There we go. There we go. Hey, all right, it's working.
Yeah.
And we're going to be super behind watching on our feeds.
You'll hear me reacting though. My favorite eats, I've spent years finding the combo for the most bodacious sandwich. I kid you not, this is the illest Sandy. 10 meats, 6 cheeses, 4 greens, 6 sauces. This is sandwich perfection. You don't even know how far up my alley this is already. Just need some napkins and I can scarf this down. Poof, and just like that, the boss Sandy was gone. Get real, where's my sandwich? Get back here with my sandwich, you jerkwad! Oh, some people are... Oh, this guy's speeding off with a sandwich. I gotta track down this scumbag and get my sandwich back! Okay, how to play. It's like... Okay, I do gotta make sure... Yeah, I've got the boost. Oh, okay, you can... Okay,
Like
you can boost in the
America
air.
buys
Okay.
Some of these ARPs.
Highway hijinks. Berg. Not a fan of this guy. Oh, crap.
Get bruising.
All right, back to the checkpoint.
That baseline now.
Hey, all right.
Yeah. Hey, don't forget you can dash with the A button.
Yes, okay. Jumpin' jalopy.
Bruising.
Oh, shit. That would have been a time to do it.
Get bruising.
like that DP low bit rate voice sample. It's great.
Use the
Why is the miracle wall?
There we go.
Is that your voice?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
It is? That's amazing.
I'm definitely like 9 years ago.
Oh, fucking. Ugh.
Get rooted.
I need a checkpoint. It's alright, I might just die.
I think you were super close to one too.
Oh man! Oh,
Get rooted.
I think I'm on my last life here.
A good natural stopping point, probably.
Or I'm just gonna beat it on my last limb here.
What a gamer.
That's me, huge gamer. I've been playing video games like hours a day for many years of my life. People, it's a thing people don't really know about me. This guy, I don't love these guys, you know? Oh man, I don't get my sandwich? Come on!
Yeah, no sandwich. Spoiler alert, you weren't going to get the sandwich in this demo.
Okay, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's
Thanks
great.
for
Yeah, thanks for giving it a go.
Super classic soundtrack and graphics. It was great. No, I think it was the wrong like resolution though for any system. Also, no spike flicker.
It's
Like,
actually,
come
like,
on.
4 times Game Boy resolution.
Yeah.
The original Jam version we made was actually the right. I don't remember what the pixel count is. I'm sure one of you knows.
It's 144
game-
by something.
Yeah, it's 160
Yeah.
by 144.
So the original Jam version we made was the same gameplay, but like on that quarter-size screen, and we were like, no, this can't be.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man. Yeah, limitations equals creativity. Am I right? Am I right? The
Sounds
more
about right.
limitations,
Limitations are
the
just
more
limitations.
creativity you have. That's why 1 pixel by 1 pixel is the most creative game that ever existed.
What's this game? Oh, this is Blue.
Yeah.
0-bit
Sure,
audio.
Sure, it's not just the most creative is Doom running on a pregnancy test, because I thought that was the most creative.
I saw one that was like Doom running on DNA. It was like a cell, and it was
DNA. Yes,
but it was
like a
just it
slideshow
wasn't
again.
even it was barely the screenshot of the word Doom that was in like 1 bit like black and white, like it was like the first frame of the intro or one of the first frames of the intro, and it's like, wait, you can't say that Doom is running on DNA. Come on, we all know that this is not like this is PR.
This is a slideshow.
Yeah.
Right. It's so great when you're like so jaded that you're not impressed that like anything is running on DNA.
So I know we just listened to the songs in the demo. I don't necessarily think we should go into the tracker versions unless you really want to. But one of the files in there is the sound effect that plays at the start of the title screen,
Yeah.
tying back into that conversation we were having before.
Nice.
So if you open the file I sent you and the one that's just titled Vroom,
Yeah.
you guys can see how I created that car sound effect. Because
I just like on that last track, it was like I don't know, I'm gonna deep nerd out here, but like I was listening to it, I was thinking of Bucky O'Hare, because it uses a lot of like Mixolydian. Because that last song you were playing, it was yeah.
That's awesome.
It warms my heart to hear you say Bucky O'Hare. I was specifically trying to channel Kodaka,
Yeah.
Nice.
but I got to a point in the song where my brain kept trying to funnel it right into a Batman song, and I had to like force it away from that change up. I was like, no, stop it.
No.
Okay,
That's
let's
right in there too.
let's check out the vroom really quick.
That's good
You
room.
dig it.
Perfect vroom.
Have you guys ever had to do like a it didn't end up going anywhere, but I almost was working on a game this year, and I was gonna do a contract just to work on sound effects, but it didn't go through. Have you guys ever had a contract just to do chiptune sound effects for a game?
Thankfully, no, because I think I would probably do the same thing. I'd be like, I think it's a fun exercise, like, in my spare time, if I felt like, for fun, I wanted to learn how to do it. There's a cool, like, Danimal Cannon tutorial or something on how to make sound effects in LSDJ, and I'm like, yeah, I get the concept of it, and I've done some, like, sound design stuff, but that's, like, when you're actually, like, having the capabilities of a full DAW, you know what I mean? Like, a full computer capability to do that, as opposed to, like, just doing a sound chip, which is very limited in its capacity. And, like, I haven't studied those classic sound effects either, like, in games, because that you could learn a lot if you studied the, like, going through the sound tests of your favorite games or something and trying to recreate those from scratch.
Like importing the NSF file into like FamiTracker, and you can see like exactly channel by channel how they made a metallic sound.
Right,
All the
exactly.
sound effects in that build were made in FamiTracker.
Cool.
Did you find that like a fun exercise?
Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error sometimes. You do learn some tricks the more you do it that you can reuse and change. It's not as difficult as you think it is when you are just starting. Once you start figuring it out, you're like, oh, that's just a metal sound. I'll just pitch that up super high and do like a note slide, and that makes a weird, unexpected noise. Or bubble pops is a fun one. You just pitch the triangle channel up. You just what's the word for it when you make it go up on a smooth motion? My brain's breaking right now.
Like a pitch bend or portamento.
Yeah, exactly. Pitch bend. That's exactly what I said in 400 words. You pitch bend up real fast.
Whistles go woo.
Yeah. It's only in the morning, but there's little things you can find, little tricks that you'll reuse from project to project.
Yo, puke.
The room sound effect is funny because it's like 3 channels, so obviously that's not getting played during gameplay. But the one that always broke my brain as a kid was the at the end when you die in Blaster Master. Do you guys know that sound?
Yes. Yeah, I know
How
how
do they do
they did
that?
it.
I don't know.
I know how they did it. This is probably on Retro Game Audio also, but
It is. We did a whole episode on it. Yep.
Documented example of overclocking the CPU, right? So that you can get a very fast pulse sound, so that you can, because the faster it is, I think that gets you closer to human or the aliens like speech synthesis that they're going for.
We got a pop quiz.
Sounds like
from
a guttural growl.
We got a pop quiz from Puke7 in the chat. Pop quiz: Portamento versus Glissando.
Those are different words. What I got.
Nailed it.
Let's see. Glissando is what I learned playing the trombone in school, and because I could glissando all day, because I had a slide. And then Portamento is what I learned just working in trackers.
Portamento, I thought, is when you're like, it's like the smooth sliding from one note to the next, kind of like if you're slurring the pitch. But like glissando, I think of on piano as like discrete, when you're like that would be a glissando, but I don't actually know if there's a technical. I don't know the technical. You want to tell us the answer, or is this just trying trying to get the musicians' brains in us to
I know
activate.
on synths, like on a synth, you actually have like
Yeah.
a portamento function.
That's the
because you can
context I have.
Smooth slide, right? You can have a smooth slide that you can't have on an acoustic instrument like a piano, but you could have that smooth slide if you had a trombone
Or like a string instrument, like a
3, right?
like a violin or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
That's why
What's that?
trombone is the best instrument.
That's
Oh,
right.
he says, I think Def Mech got it right. I'll accept that as my answer.
You win.
Can you glissando in Family Tracker?
At speed 1?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, I was like, you could do that if you did speed 1 and you just
Yeah.
had like a rapid series of notes.
Yeah. I was wondering if there was a command for it though.
No, I don't think there's a
I
glissando
definitely
command.
know- I remember like
Maybe with a macro, a pitch macro.
Yeah, I just remember like I would go through the Family Tracker forums, and there would be those absolute weirdos that would write all of their songs at the maximum speed, and they wouldn't create any instruments. Everything would be documented out in the pattern view of the tracker, and they just have it at max speed because they wanted it to be as close to, hardware accurate as possible or whatever. That's what that makes me think of, where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna program the effects so
Meticulously.
at such a granular level.
Yeah.
Meticulously, yeah. Trackers weren't meticulous enough.
Yeah.
All of the automation that we have to do in these things is insane. When it's like, oh, we could just do this in a modern DAW, it would be 10 times easier. Off my soapbox.
Actually, I think in some ways the DAW thing, if you're trying to reproduce those things, I think that the automation in the tracker is actually way better. Like the macros, things like macros, or in LSDJ they have tables, right? But it's kind of the same idea.
I think Renoise has a similar idea where you can take like but I think that helps that it's already kind of a tracker, but mixed with a modern DAW, so it's like it's got that, but then it also has that thing where you can have like a macro in a similar way where you can create an instrument where I'm like, oh, I want like you could take like a hardware synth, hook it up to Renoise, and you're like, oh, I want it to sound like a chiptune. Oh, I put in this macro that adds like an octave lead to it where it has like a octave up and then it comes down to 0 very fast. And now like, if I had like I did this at a friend's house and he had like a Brute and it was like a mono synth, but suddenly I could turn it into like a chiptune lead.
I remember talking to you about that because like for a while I was using Renoise as like a live performance type thing, and I was like, oh, I'm totally doing that, and then I did, and I was like, this is awesome. Like in the context, it was totally different than like hearing a normal chiptune, but I was like, oh, this is so cool because I can just turn this in. Yeah, in Renoise they call them phrases, which is confusing, but that's what it is.
I'm just gonna keep calling it a macro.
Yeah, right. Because in LSDJ has phrases, which is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I love when different software uses the same word in completely different ways.
Yes.
Never gets old.
My brain breaks it's like I have to focus on one piece of software for a while at a time. So it's like when I was making music for a game on Commodore 64, like that was my tracker, and it was Goat Tracker 2, and it was just like breaking my brain how hard it was just to learn that one tracker that nothing else mattered. I wasn't like messing with Family Tracker or Def Lamask or LSDJ. I was just like, okay, this is all I'm gonna pay attention to for like 6 months.
But Goat Tracker is seriously like it's like, I mean, you have to have the cheat sheet first of all, and I mean like the Goat Tracker 2, the GT2, like what is it, GT2 Ultra or something, or GT2 Turbo or something?
There's like
it has like some nice like help text and stuff in it yeah, but like it's still like you have to remember what the values are for certain like waveforms or for certain envelopes. Like it's not really that intuitive, and it takes like you have to straight up memorize a bunch of stuff in order to be able to do anything in it. And it's cool. I love the SID sounds, but like I've tried to use it. I tried to get started with it on multiple occasions, and just like, man, this is like the learning curve. Like I just cannot get past that Yeah.
Yeah, now I just say just go in the furnace.
Yeah.
If you just want like really solid SID sound, just go in the furnace and pick a SID chip and do it in there because you'll have a much easier time.
Memorize the SID
If you're
spec.
not having to put music into a demo or into a game on the actual Commodore 64, just do that.
Yeah.
There's more than one SID chip.
There are. There's the original revision, which has like better. It's like the filters are deeper. But then the second revision of the SID chip sounds raspier at the high end, if that makes sense. And so you can get some kind of more serrated sounds. It's actually there is a difference when you hear songs in either chip, and you can, in most trackers, you can easily A/B them just to see like, oh, what does it sound like here, and what does it sound like here. And they also, the big difference between them is that the way that they do, like, if you want to do sample playback, they both have their own weird glitch to do that.
Has anybody ever done like a 2x?
The later chip lacks filter feedback and it won't self-oscillate. That's what Puke says.
Yeah. And then there's also, so people, they're just like, I think we were talking about this earlier, but like people made all sorts of stuff for the Commodore 64. So there's like 2x SID engines, 3x SID engines. There's an FM synthesis piece of hardware you can get. I've got like this piece of hardware that lets you do MIDI input into the Commodore 64, a MIDI output. So there's, God, as long as that system's been around, people are making like modern solutions and all sorts of craziness for a computer that came out in like 82.
And they can do sample playback now.
Yeah. They can do MP3 playback. Wildly.
What up, One Hit Kill? I just wanted to say hello to our Australian friend who we met at MagFest.
Hello.
Oh, hey,
speaking of, we were talking earlier about like, songs that sound different on, a full sound system. If you have to check out One Hit Kill, and if you don't like it immediately, I beg you, please put it on like in your car and just like boost it as high as you can go. If you have bass boost, like put it all the way up. Like it just like it was so awesome at MagFest. Listening to that in chip space, just the giant speakers. One Hit Kill makes awesome DMB music.
Yes, totally. Speaking of bass at MagFest, should we play our little collaboration on stage?
Yeah.
I'm referring to, of course, the tuba. So, no, we can.
No, play it. Yeah,
let's play it. So,
we've been doing so much talking. Let's do some music. That was
ap0c joined me on stage to play tuba during the song. So I have my live set posted on YouTube, but I figured we might as well clip this out and give it a little spotlight here. So this is a song called Indigo Twilight, which I submitted to Battle of the Bits for the Game Boy Moods battle. And I used this crazy program to try to convert the LSDJ into MIDI so that I could convert that into sheet music. And ap0c's like, yo, this whole thing is like a half beat off. And I was like, oh no. But at least this song, like, it managed to work out. And there's a fun little crash at the beginning, which of course we expected.
Which I predicted.
Yes.
I was joking. I was like, oh yeah, don't crash.
You can hear you tell me on the video, you're like, I told you this would happen. So here we go. It's Indigo Twilight featuring ap0c on tuba.
Give it up for ap0c! This is a special treat. We've never done this before. Well, he has. I haven't. So, we're going to do some Game Boy and tuba! Chip! APOC on tuba, everybody.
So yeah, that was I didn't tell you, but there was a 2-beat tuba solo right at the very end of that swing part. I was like, tuba solo. Nobody but me caught it, but yeah, that was super fun. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I wish the other tune that we had kind of planned out was in a readable format.
I know.
But it was great. Yeah, just kind of a last minute kind of thing, and yeah, I brought the tuba just for that. I didn't play it at all for the rest of the weekend, so it was nice to pretend, and that I mattered to chiptune for a minute, again.
Yeah, but you also played on the main stage.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I enjoyed revisiting that. I was up there at the front with my ears up right now, but you'd recognize me if I had my Chewbacca hair down. So. Yeah, and it sounded great. Who was saying it sounds like a Sunsoft bass? It definitely does.
Oh, I was. Yeah, that was me. That was just like pure, I don't know, like a pure bass tone coming through.
Yeah.
Coming in hot.
I think it was maybe clipping a little bit.
It totally was on the stream,
but it sounded good.
That's just like the nature of the thing.
I think that's what made me think of Sunsoft bass. It was just like, oh, this is just like highly compressed bass. Great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I was playing overly loud into the microphone, and like I said, we didn't do any sound check or anything previous to it. I was just like, we're just gonna wing it. It's chiptune, and also if I come up here with the tuba, everyone's gonna know I'm gonna do it. So we'll figure it out. Just put the mic up there. I know Sam Mulligan is over there. He's definitely multiple times, helped me with mic for tuba, so I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Let's just do it. And that's what happened.
That was definitely something I had no experience with, because I was like, how do you even mic this thing? But
you either set up a mic like they did, or you throw the mic down the tuba. Put it literally like in the bell and all the way down.
Yeah.
I do have for when I do play a lot of other gigs or whatever, I have Velcro, actually, like a little Velcro spot inside the bell where you can put a little tiny mic and Velcro it. But most of the time people just chuck it right down the bell.
Yeah.
It goes all the way down and into the bottom part. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, that was a blast. I'm glad that I don't even remember you must have come up with the idea, or I don't know. I had so many guests on stage. It was a lot of fun to just do that, because I was like, and if more people would have come to MagFest, I would have had even more people on stage. Like, I was like, this is kind of the greatest thing ever. Like, maybe the next time I perform, I'll just bring the whole audience up on stage. Like, it's everybody just
and
like,
then have the stage collapse.
Yeah, that's true. It is a hazard. You do have to know not to fall off the back side of the stage, because that is a real possibility.
Set that stage up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or falling on the stage as it is currently.
Yeah. Very accurate. I miss MagFest. I would definitely like to come back. I've had to miss the last couple years because I think this year would have been okay, but the other years it was always right around January 1st.
Yeah.
And at my company, that's the busiest time of year. January 1st through 3rd. Yeah. Worst time.
It literally, yeah. If you work in any kind of corp, any kind of thing like that, everyone comes back from vacation, everything, and then they're like, okay, Q1 goals, let's go. Let's go. And especially if you're doing fiscal calendar or whatever, people are already we're already 15 days into Q1 or something like that, and it's like, come on, man.
Insurance. Yeah.
And especially with MagFest has typically been the 3rd to the 5th a couple times. It's so much better when it's a little bit later. That one year was in February too, which was super great. It was
I wish they would do it even later, because the odds of a winter blizzard or something as you're driving out there are so much lower the later they put it off. But I don't know what they're. True. I'm happy enough with the time that it has been at the end of January. I think it is nicer to be further out of the. Yeah. It's been a nightmare, and the past couple of times it's been okay. It's just if I can just be. like have a clear sunny day. That's all I really care about. Because I've driven in there and just like inches of snow, and like it's like, oh, this is a nightmare. It
was super cold this year.
It was, yeah,
like insanely cold, like colder than normal even.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of times it's cold and windy and nasty, but this year it was.
Yeah, and we've had also like MagFest like where it's been like 50 degrees and like sunny. I'm like, I'm wearing a winter coat, but do I really need this thing?
That's why I just flew down this year. Like it was so much easier. 'Cause there was a blizzard that I drove through in 2020.
Yeah.
Or the aftermath of a blizzard. And,
yeah.
like highways were shut down and
I think that was the year I was thinking of where the drive was just like horrendous. I was like, this is terrible. Like I have to go slow, and you're going slow, and then it takes longer, and it's like it's already like basically a 9-hour drive for me. So it's like anything on top of that, and then you're getting there and you're driving in the dark, and I'm just like, oh, I hate it. But I mean, for what it's worth, it's actually like it's cheap. So that's one thing. It's like I save so much money just by driving.
Yeah.
I mean, we did that. I did that one year with Swordbird, who was playing at MagFest, and I flew up there, but I drove back with him, and it's like a 27-hour drive from South Texas all the way to
Jesus Christ.
To what, National Harbor?
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's why I don't think I could handle that. Like if it was any longer, I'd be like, no way. And yeah, I keep saying I'm gonna skip the next one, but I'm like, I don't know. And then like Lexi brought up the whole Telemelt Magfest edition, which I think would be fun to do, to like both have people there and then possibly even try to get people remote in to do that, so that we could pass the controller between like multiple people, whether on stage or like remote. So if people could make it there, like that would be cool. But there's also like just amazing, so many LSDJ artists that show up at MagFest that would be incredible to have on stream that I can't really get, even on a regular basis or maybe ever to show up, which makes sense. But also I think they would have a blast.
It would also be fun to be like, does anyone know LSDJ in the audience?
That's how we find the next like serious LSDJ chiptuner.
Can anybody play the drums?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be sick.
That would be great.
I had a lot of fun at Jam Space this year.
You went to Jam Space?
Yeah, that was something that .exe, he was like, oh, I'm going to Jam Space, and I was like, what's that?
Oh, I've done that. Yeah, that's great.
It was cool.
Yeah, it's on my I posted a video of it on my Blue Sky account. I'll link it in chat.
Yeah, I sat down and they pulled up Corridors of Time from Chrono Trigger, and I was like, oh, I'm in. Like, I know, like, I'm such a huge gamer, but I don't know any of the songs. So, but I was like, oh, this is a piece of cake. And then the charts that they've got up are fairly, like, readable. They're not super difficult or anything. So that was a blast.
See, that's great that you had at MagFest, they have the sheet music, and I can read sheet music also on, like, piano, because that's, like, my main instrument. But when we did Jam Space over I think it was PAX East. I remember doing that one year, and I was helping out with that. And there was no sheet music. It was just whatever the band leader had. But sometimes someone would jump on the stage and they're like, all right, now we're going to do a Stone Temple Pilots song. And you're just like, oh, okay, great. And I'm just kind of like sleeping through the keyboard part. I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
But then I would just bust out like, all right, now we're going to do the theme song from Gauntlet. All right. Good times.
Yeah, next year I want to hear Def Mech solo.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to do some chop to do my wood shedding.
Have you done a live show with live instrumentation with your Game Boy before?
Absolutely not. Like I the whole point of the rig is that it fits in a backpack. So like M8, sure, but like carrying around an 88 key or even like a 60, like the thing is like I did a band for a long time that was like It was basically all improvised, but so I had a laptop and a keyboard and like some gear and stuff, but it was just like lugging the stand and the keyboard and and hooking up the MIDI it was just like, I'm not doing this again for a long time if ever.
I absolutely get that.
I compressed my
even though I do that.
Go on.
What's that?
I was just gonna say I compressed my entire live setup into a pedal board, and I still have to bring around a keyboard stand for the pedal board and a keytar to play with it. So like everything's set up, all the MIDI. I have 2 chords that I plug in, but like I still have to carry around so much gear.
Oh,
it's definitely not that trackable.
Yeah, I make it so hard for myself because I'm playing a show next week and I'm playing bass guitar and keyboards, and I have a Sega Genesis set up, so it's just like all of these different connections you have to, and I was playing like electric guitar before, but that was like, oh, I have a pedal board for that, and I have to make sure this is working, so I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna play bass, so it's like one less thing to worry about. I don't have to worry about cycling through different patches.
One Hit Kill says roll up silicone keyboard, and it reminds me of like so Maxo played the chip space, and Maxo is I don't know the keyboard enough, but it's like it's one of those like it's almost like a mini one of those Korg
Sharper
mini
things?
the mini Korgs or whatever that they are, but it's like it's with the tiny like keys, and like Maxo was just like ripping jazz solos on it. I'm like, how do you do that? Like I can't do, like anything that's not like a standard like thing with like even like synth action is okay, but like anything that's like smaller or like dinkier than that, it's like no way. Like if it's like a flat key, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some of those like the Rolly C boards and stuff, which are cool for other reasons because they've got that like all of that channel expression that you can do by sliding stuff around. But like, but that's probably like a whole other thing in terms of like, I'm just trying to play keys,
I get that.
So we did get to the collab. I'm wondering if we should play something from Yoke Heroes.
We could.
Maybe some space adventuring.
I think that's one of the tracks that people like.
Space Adventure
do you want to talk a bit about the game?
Yeah, I've worked on a lot of games. Even worked on Bloodstained Classic 2, which was pretty great. I mean, to work on something that was like legacy or partially Castlevania. But I think Yoke Heroes has been the biggest commercial success I've worked on. We have a very positive. It was overwhelmingly positive for 2 hours on Steam, which. So I feel like people, when they see overwhelmingly positive, like there's people who are like, oh, I'm gonna make it like I'm gonna make sure I put a negative review, and then the negative reviews of Yoke Heroes are like, hey, it's an idle game. Yeah, it is. It says it's an idle game.
That's what
it
says on the tin.
And yeah, it's supposed to say that. It's like, I don't understand why I can't be so interactive with it. It's like, yep. You're not supposed to be interactive with it. You're supposed to like let it on and just let it go. We've had that though, but we had a very successful launch on Android too, which I think we have maybe 40 or 50K downloads at this point.
Ooh, nice.
Which is just crazy. Like I went to Tokyo Game Show with Yoke Heroes to sponsor it there. I was talking with other people, and they're all like, "How did this game get success?" I'm like, I don't know. we did a good job, I guess. Like we had very good writers, we had very good things there. But like, there's so many games that I've played that I'm just like, why were we successful and other indie games were not, when this game was just literally not supposed to be as successful. You know what I mean? Like, there's not as much heart in it. It's supposed to be like kind of like a background kind of thing where people put all this effort into their games and everything. Like indie, it's a crapshoot in the indie game industry. It's just whatever hits. And I guess we hit okay. I think one of the things that we did that was different, and we purposely made sure that the game, when it launched, was in English, Japanese, and simple Chinese, and was launched at the Chinese market. And the Chinese market is great, there's, I mean, I don't know if you all launch anything in there. It's great. It also has weird differences that you wouldn't even think would happen in terms of games, like people being very upset that their yoke hero that they had died. Like apparently in Chinese gaming, if your hero dies, it means something different than it to us when it would die, like different things like that. And we got a lot of negative reviews because our hero disappeared as opposed to died. And we had professional translators, but it was a very interesting process to get it through there.
Like superstitious things, or like that whole thing in like Japanese when you have like the number 4 or 7, which mean death.
Yeah, just things we didn't consider, and we had really professional Chinese translators do it, but there were very particular issues that we had to address in terms of the game launch just for that audience, which I didn't even expect would happen. Like we figured it out what the American audience would want. We thought about the Japanese audience. The Chinese audience is very different, and if you're considering launching something in there, we learned that we needed to do more research before we sent it over there, based on the Steam comments that we got and the negative reviews we got simply because we didn't understand those kinds of things. But so you said space adventuring? Is that the? Yeah, that should be fun.
Yep.
Yeah, we can do that.
Cool.
So I originally this game was supposed to be Double Wonder Swan. I did Double Wonder Swan and hated it and realized that I'm not as good at that in Furnace Tracker, and I'm pretty shit. Damn it. Demonetizing the stream again. I'm pretty crap at it.
Shih Tzu.
Yeah, Shih Tzu. Yeah,
Shiitake.
Shiitake mushroom.
We got you.
But I realized that I'm not very good at it, so I went into Family Tracker and just went, you know what? Just add a bunch of things, add a bunch of extra everything, and just whatever. I'll just figure it out. And they're like, well, this isn't Double Wonder Swan anymore. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just like me and 12 different expansion audio, and I don't care anymore. And it's going to be easier for me and easier for everyone if I do it this way. So
nice.
Yep.
Cool. All right, here it is. Space Adventuring from Yoke Heroes. I'm gonna hit stop here. Awesome.
Yeah, that's from the we put as Hang On Get Ready said in our private chat over here. Yeah, that's from the trailer.
Cool.
Kind of like I said, macro chiptune, lots and lots of channels. And I forget, we were talking about it, kind of like adding channels. Like was it .exe that was saying, if very rarely have added channels, but always reduced channels as they've gone through when they've worked on things. If you look at that file, there's pretty much everything. There's MMC5, there's FDS, there's 2 channels of Namco 163, there's VRC6, and then if you look, there's also what's it called, Sunsoft 5B, and I don't use it ever. it's on there,
You put
but
some AY in there.
there's literally no AY. I think I used it for like one track where I used the noise channel for it.
Extra. Okay, no.
But it's one of those situations where I added something and then most of the soundtrack doesn't use it. The soundtrack too, like kind of expands. So like you start as a child, you get bigger and you kind of grow or whatever. The child phase uses basically 2AO3 by itself, and as you kind of grow, it adds more channels. So I don't think I've ever said that to anybody, but like that's kind of my idea for it. Like kind of like starting small and getting bigger. The channels add as you go. So
Subliminal.
yeah, I mean, pretty fun project to work on, and probably the most successful thing I've worked on, period, very easily. But also just like, I think the game has a lot of heart, a lot of fun. And
That's
if
awesome.
if you haven't played it, go for it. It's usually on sale. There's a couple places where, on Android, it's actually free with
wow.
ads, and the ads are just, watching, like, they're completely optional. The ads are totally for if you want to speed something up, but you can play the whole game the same way you play it on PC without the ads. So
Nice. I think we're heading towards the end of the stream. I guess at this point we can kind of decide. We talked about Yogurt Song, which maybe we could close on. I also have an M8 song that I submitted, but I feel like that's gotten played kind of everywhere. They did an M8 meetup, and then I've been spamming it in a lot of places.
All my new music is all covers. My new stuff is covers, and I know you were like, play that on the stream. I'm like, oh, okay.
What else? Oh yes, it's Bandcamp Friday for a little bit longer. I don't know. Is it? They're probably on Pacific time, right? So we have a little bit longer. You've seen
it's until like 2 a.m. Eastern or something.
Yeah. So you've seen the artists. If you guys want to, 4 more hours. If you want to post your links in chat, or you've seen them on the stream, I think it's diamusic.bandcamp.com, HangOnGetReady.bandcamp.com, ap0c.bandcamp.com, and I think it's .dotexe chiptune.bandcamp.com. Mine is Defense Mechanism, all spelled out, .bandcamp.com. We also have some people in chat, One Hit Kill, which I'm guessing is onehitkill.bandcamp.com, but I don't know for a fact. We have disposableplanet.bandcamp.com. Is it b-nox at bandcamp.bandcamp.com? There we go. One hit kill. Battle of the Bits.bandcamp.com.
You'll find him eventually. Yeah.
Oh, and battleofthebits.com. Yeah, which is full of great music. And you can donate on battleofthebits.com as well.
And follow his NES projects, which are fantastic.
That's right. Guntner. Oh, and as well as the Bleepler, which was featured in my Magfest chip space set.
Do you have?
I got mine right here.
There it is.
Mine's in the other room. I usually use it with the dog. We make him howl with the Bleepler.
Oh, that poor dog. Yeah, I'm hooking it up right now. So I can
it's martial art. I'm guessing that's JMR. I still have to assemble my Bleepler. Martialart.bandcamp.com.
JMR's in it? Yeah.
8-bit beast.
I think I own that. I'm not even sure.
Discord is just filtering out the Bleepler entirely, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it at all.
Yeah, sad face.
I can't even hear it, yeah.
One Hit Kill says, debut album from my homie, mid-sized seance of 200 plus crew in Sydney.
All right.
Threw out the link here, 200plus.bandcamp.com/album/Gameboys Gabber Kicks. LSDJ Gabber. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. I'm going to pick that up. I have most of you guys' music already. Cool.
Actually, I just realized I didn't purchase your latest album, so let me do that.
This is all so circular because any money that I get from Bandcamp almost immediately goes back to other chiptune artists.
Yep. That's exactly, anytime I've ever done it, it's exactly what happens.
Yeah. consider this your payment for that. What's it called? The couple Yoke Heroes things that I need to send you that I haven't. That I'm getting yelled at about because I haven't actually had you mix them yet. Because I haven't written them, so that's part of it too.
Just passing the same $50 around.
That's chiptune in a nutshell, right? Yeah.
It was funny. I wanted to mention because I think we talked about like the tractor nerds are kind of the equivalent of the chiptune nerds, but just like in the outdoor scene. It's just like these guys are just like super nerdy about their tractor hardware and like.
There's actually two different models of the John Deere XY7L.
Yeah.
And one has a slightly different motor cadence.
It's
Has
true.
anybody ever done two XD7Ls?
Someone should grab a link cable and hook them up.
Sometimes they get out of sync.
Holy crap. Oh my god.
No, this one can play MP3s.
Yeah.
Okay, so like we joke, but like I know with like LSDJ you can link two together. But I just love I love that you can do that in like when you see like arcade cabinets that are linked together like that. Love that.
There's a pinball game that it's one of the NBA
NBA Fast Break.
Yes, yeah, and you can play
it. I played it head to head.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to TPF this year. They had it there.
Nice.
At Texas Pinball Fest a couple years ago, and it was legit.
Yeah, that is awesome. We had a couple of those at this pinball place. This was like years ago when I was just first getting into pinball. But like, yeah, that was awesome.
Man, we missed out on pinball chat. The Dungeons and Dragons pinball is at my local pinball place, and it's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally.
Why aren't they hiring chiptune artists to make pinball music? Whew.
That would be sick.
Make FM music again.
Yeah.
Easier to just hire AI to do it, I guess.
It really probably is.
Hey, speaking of AI, maybe this is a good place to close out, and we can play Yogurt Song, aka Yogurt GPT, aka Lactose Overdose, which is
I love it.
I have really high hopes for. I was saying this for Winter Chip, but yeah, well, we'll see if we don't face off with Don't Blink or You'll Die on that, because it's like. Their track is like super incredible. So yeah,
it's too good. It's too good.
It's
I already heard. Yeah,
this has been awesome. We should probably plan to do another one. Or actually, what makes it more fun is not planning it, because then it's an impromptu hang. So in the meantime, you can catch my Telemelt streams on the same place as you're watching this every other Sunday. That's when we usually try to do those. And this is the result of one of the most recent collaborations between myself, .exe, I don't know if I can remember the other 6 people, Skip Sandwich DX, Connor Baxter, Dammy Fortune, Senexo, and I think there's one more.
Wow.
Yes. So yeah, and this is our song.
Wow, I know like half those people. That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you soon. And don't forget to check out the Boston Bitdown stream after this if you want to on twitch.tv/GeekBeatRadio.
You should do a raid.
And they're on tomorrow night too. So, and you can check out the archives for the next few days. So, all right, here we go. This is Yogurt Song.